Hey, everybody, my name is Will Martin, and I'm a family nurse practitioner who works in emergency medicine. And I received my PhD a couple of years ago, and a lot of people have asked me, what's it like to go through a PhD program? So, without getting into specifics, because if I did, we'd be here for hours talking, I'm just going to give you just some broad strokes about what it was like to be in a PhD program. My PhD is in education and specifically nursing education. So it starts out with coursework, just like your master's degree or even your undergraduate degree. You're going to have coursework, you're going to have papers, you're going to have presentations, you're going to have all of those things that are required, just like any course. Is it ramped up a little bit from your master's degree? Maybe. Yeah, I think it probably is. And probably the biggest thing that you'll notice, certainly what I noticed, is that your level of writing is expected to be better than what it probably currently is. Now, I went through a DNP before my PhD because I guess I'm bored and have nothing else to do. But my DNP required, a fairly good amount of writing skill, but the PhD was another level. And I don't think it was unique to the university that I went to. I think all universities that offer a PhD want their graduates to graduate as excellent written communicators and hopefully spoken communicators too, because you'll do a lot of presentations. And of course, at the end, you'll do the big presentation, which is your dissertation. So just getting back to the coursework, your coursework will be, based on semesters, and you will get grades just like you do, in your master's degree program. But again, the amount of reading and the amount of writing is probably ratcheted up a bit from what you're used to in a otherwise graduate program like a master's degree. Once you get through most of your coursework, when you get kind of near the end, and each program is probably a little different with this, but you'll have comprehensive exams, and these are oral exams and written exams in most programs. And this is essentially exams that are written by your professors who are familiar with the coursework that you have taken, and you're going to be tested on certain aspects of your coursework. If you fail to pass the comprehensive exams, in most cases, most programs, you're done. You don't go any farther. You're out of the program. So it can be pretty nerve-wracking. If you pass the comprehensives, then you continue on, you finish up your coursework. And throughout your coursework, you will be asked from time to time to be thinking about what your research topic might be for your dissertation. Because the whole point of getting into a PhD program is you are a researcher. And you will ultimately, in order to exit a PhD program with a degree, you're going to have to contribute to the body of knowledge of your profession. So you're going to have to come up with an original research question, and you're going to have to research it and present your findings. And you are considered the expert by the time you're done. You're the expert in this particular area that you've researched. So, as you can imagine, it's a lot of work. So, by the time you're near the end of your didactic work, you will have to create a research proposal. And that research proposal will be presented to your research committee. Your research committee is comprised of professors that you have worked with and that you have approached at some point near the end of your didactic work and asked them to be on your committee. These are the folks that are going to guide you through your dissertation. One of those people will be your chair, and that's the person that you'll communicate with the most. But the other members of the committee will also review your work sporadically to make sure that you're on point. They will also try to keep you on target as far as deadlines are concerned. But to be honest, when you finish your didactic and you have presented your research proposal to your committee and your committee approves it, you are on your own with your dissertation. And this is where a lot of people have trouble because they have to be motivated. They have to be able to complete the work on time. There's a timer when you start your dissertation. You have 7 years in most programs to complete your dissertation. That sounds like a lot of time, but what a lot of people do is they finish their coursework, they get their research proposal done, and then they decide they're just going to take some time off. And a few months turns into a year, 2 years, sometimes even more. And now they're in dire straits because they're so far removed from the coursework and so far removed from their research topic, it's almost like starting all over again. So it's important that you continue to keep the train moving. Don't drop the ball, just keep going and get it done. If you can't do that, if you're raising a family, if you have small kids, if you have a lot of other obligations, if you have a job that it really takes a lot of your time, it's going to be difficult because you have to keep up. Now, there's a lot of PhD programs now, I'm sure, that are fully online. And there's the allure of being online, that you can sit home and you can sip your coffee and, maybe connect with some of your cohort online. I'm not a big fan of that. I did go to an immersion program. So some of it maybe you could consider to be online, but for the most part, we met twice a semester for a week each time and did our work and really got to know each other. We all got to know each other in the cohort. And that just creates a much better environment for learning and collaboration. And in cases after you graduate, you remain pretty close friends with a lot of those people. If you're purely online, you never have any connection with the majority of the people that you're going to school with. And I think it's just a big lost opportunity. So if you can avoid fully online, that's just my personal opinion, but I would say avoid the fully online programs. I think you lose a lot that way. You may walk out with a degree, but I think you're missing a lot. You're missing part of the experience that I think is important. Anyway, when you get to that dissertation, though, you have to keep things moving. In most cases, you're going to be doing research that's going to require some data to be collected. You collect data oftentimes by sending out surveys, for example. Those surveys have to be sent out. You have to wait for them to be filled out. They have to return. Then you have data analysis that needs to be done. And then statistics needs to be performed on that data in order to report it accurately. So that's very time consuming. And I think there's a misconception with a lot of folks that, they can just fly through and do this in, 3 or 4 months. It just isn't going to happen that way. I think, out of my cohort, there was one person that finished a couple of months before me. I don't think she had a job. She didn't really do much. She was a young kid, and she just flew right through it. I think she graduated in December, and I graduated the following May. But I was pretty darn close to finishing in December because I kept the train moving. I did not stop, and that's really the key. So to sum it up, a PhD program is just like any other program. You're going to have coursework, you're going to have deadlines, you're going to have requirements, you're going to have papers to write, you're going to have a ton of reading, you're going to be doing presentations. It's time consuming. There's no way around it. But in the end, if your goal is to teach, you probably need it. If your goal is to be a hardcore researcher, you definitely need it. Otherwise, if you're just a good self-motivated person and you have the skills of perseverance, you'll get through it no problem. If you have questions about this, leave them in the comments below. If you have questions about graduate school in general, please leave them in the comments below. And I really will try to do my best to get back to everyone. I'm just getting some time off from work now, and I'm really kind of scaling back the amount of work that I'm doing. So I really hope to spend more time being a resource to people and people that are interested in going to grad school. Also, if anyone listening is into EMS, emergency medical services, EMT, paramedic, that sort of thing, I'm really getting back into that too. I was a paramedic for many, many, many years, both paid and volunteer. And I just recently rejoined my local volunteer fire department, and I'm getting back into that. So I've got a lot of insight in regard to EMS, that sort of thing. So anyway, I'll be talking to you all soon. Have a good day. Thanks.